Welcome, everyone. This is Seeds of Light, Astrology Hub show dedicated to illuminating the path of parenting using the power of astrology. Today, I'm here with Dominique Jaramillo, astrologer of over 14 years, facilitator of the Conscious Parenting with Astrology group, and mama to a 9-year-old boy. Thank you so much for being here, Dominique.
My pleasure.
We're answering a real-life parenting question today from our community. My child is complaining of being bored. How can astrology help me encourage creativity and play? This is such a huge one right now, right? Because everybody's at home with the kids.
I know. I love this one. And the first thing I thought of was what I learned. I took some parenting classes when my son was young, and this topic comes up a lot. And the thing that I learned was boredom sparks creativity. And so I looked it up online because I couldn't remember. And I found this, and it says, letting your mind wander, especially with today's technological distractions, is crucial for creativity. The researchers say that being in a state of boredom encourages you to explore creative outlets because your brain is signaling that your current situation is lacking and you need to push forward. I'm like, that is so true. So when my son would say, I'm bored, I would say, good. That means you're about to have this great new idea or something, new is going to spark you. I was like, sit there, see what comes up. Usually they don't want to, right? Especially your child, they may not want to. But I then look to what I know of astrology. And for creativity, we can look to a couple of key places. First of all, the sun, right? The sun is how we shine brightest in the world. It's the things that light us up and bring us the most joy. And the sun is ruled by Leo and the 5th house of play and creative expression and joy and things that light us up, right? So knowing your child's sun sign, you can get clues into the things that they're really going to enjoy doing. And you can read about the sun sign all over the place. It's the most, available information. And there's a lot of great books for, your child's sun sign stuff. And look at your child's sun sign. Look at some of the basic things that they say your child might enjoy or be good at, or, that kind of thing. And then you can look, say, for example, what rules your child's 5th house and the sign, and then what planet is that sign associated with, So for example, my son is a Pisces and Leo actually rules his 5th house. So that just takes him right back to his sun, right? So, but if you had an Aries child, but you had Cancer on the 5th house or something like that, then that's going to take them to their moon. So you'd be looking at their sun and their moon. Makes sense? And so, of course, art and music and that kind of thing were always things that lit my child up. He loved music and dance and art. And so when he was young, I would start to introduce the sort of traditional things that I learned that he might like and see how he responded, what he really gravitated toward naturally. He loved music and dance, not so much learning to play an instrument. Again, that Mercury in Pisces is like, yeah, no, the note's not going to jive with that, right? But he's loved art class. And I did say, hey, we want to take an art class and try it out and like learn how to really sketch. And he did, and he loved it. So he's been in formal art class, but there's still like this creative freedom there too, and a way to sort of help him navigate this great creativity. So I would say like ponder, what kind of things you learn about their sun sign, and maybe the sign that rules the 5th and what that takes you to, and what sign that's in. Say the moon is in, Leo. Oh, wow. Maybe like to sing or dance, or, they feel really good when they're entertaining you. And then you can make suggestions when they're bored, because typically if you suggest something, they really enjoy, it might spark them to act, you know? And one really great example I'd love to share is something I was playing with this idea yesterday when you had sent me these questions. And my son loves music and he loves playing songs on YouTube or Spotify, taking over to Spotify, loves music. And I was thinking about how he gets in his mood sometimes and does sort of like feel bored or not what to do. And I was like, I have an idea for you. I was like, what do you think about using a song to express how you're feeling? Like you could pick a song that would tell me either how you're feeling in the moment, or help you change your mood, he didn't gravitate so much to the idea of changing his mood, which I thought was the better thing. Like if you're feeling down, you could play a happy song and it changes, because he recognized how you could change, how music changes our mood and shifts things for us. And he loves music, but he really liked the idea of using a song to express to me how he felt. So we had to stop and get gas, right? We're on the way to art class. And he's playing with the Spotify and he's like, I got one. And this is how I'm feeling right now. So he plays it and I'm like, what is that? It's like this instrumental music. He's like, it's elevator music. He's like, I'm just bored, waiting, not know what to do. He goes, I'm getting gas.
Wow. That's like a little bit of like a here you go, mom. I found a way to tell you that I'm bored.
I was like, oh my God, that's genius. But at the same time, it changed his mood. He wasn't really bored. He was having a great time picking the song to express to me how he felt. Because later on, when I get home and I'm eating my dinner, I'm going to feel like this. And it's like, dum, 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 dum. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think we've come across something really amazing here, So that kind of thing, knowing your child's joy and what lights them up and maybe how you can spark that in them through the understanding of their sun and their fifth house. So that's a real simple way in, real simple,
Yeah, that's a really, really great. Well, there's a few really great tips in there. There's the sun sign, then there's what's the sign in the fifth house, and then
planets there too,
right. And then are there planets living in the fifth house?
Right.
And so there's many layers that you could go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share anecdotally, my son has Mercury conjunct his sun, both in Cancer at the top of the chart, and he's constantly singing. If there's not music playing, he's providing the music, or he's roaring, or it's just like so much expressiveness. And he primarily sings, well, sometimes he'll sing like songs that he has stuck in his head because we're always needing to listen to music, or singing about what he's learned, and mostly about life, like what he's learned about life. It's not so much like 1 + 2 = 3, but values that he's learned about. Like, if you cross the street, you have to be careful and look both ways. And he'll make a whole song out of that. He made one about getting lost in the woods. Like if you're not making sure that your parents can see you.
Yeah. So does he have Aquarius on the 5th?
Sorry?
So does he have Aquarius on the 5th?
Oh, I can't tell you that right now. He's a Scorpio rising. So
yeah. Well, the opposite of Cancer. Cancer is his midheaven.
Yeah.
So Capricorn would be on
Capricorn.
the 4th. So the next sign would be Aquarius. If it goes, that way, it would be Aquarius on the 5th.
Right.
So it takes him to, that Uranus or that, expressive thing. Okay, good. What's the third one?
Yeah. The last one was just singing about how he feels.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like you were saying with your son.
That's awesome.
And the last note that I wanted to share was just the idea of leaning into boredom and allowing boredom to just
absolutely
be. Like my son will come to me and he'll say, Mom, I want to watch a show. I'm bored. And I have a decision point, right? Like, am I gonna stand firm or am I gonna give in? So when I choose to stand firm and I don't offer him anything, it's usually because I'm intentionally trying to just instigate that he explores something that he's interested in. But I don't even need to say, hey, why don't you find something else? I'll just say, no, we're not watching a show right now.
Mm-hmm.
There are other things that you could do. And then I let him just figure out what that is. And that's been really helpful for me too, to just see what does he naturally gravitate towards when he doesn't have like a proposed activity.
Exactly. And you can understand too, like their nature, if that's going to work for them, like to say, oh, just no, we're not going to. But what if you have a fiery child who's like needs to do something? You can say, wait 5 minutes, see what happens. Give them a time frame. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Maybe in 15 minutes, or you know what I mean? Like, because you're going to have different children be able to say, okay, I'll, you know what I mean? I'll meander. But other kids will be like, not going to necessarily like, what does that mean? And now that all this time. So maybe give them, hey, let's wait 15 minutes, consider something else. Or like you said, give them that time, but then go, okay. I mean, they might come back and be like, okay, it's been 5 minutes. Can I watch my show?
Right.
But hey, you tried.
That's such a great point that you bring up, Dominique. Okay, so do you have any closing tips or thoughts?
No, actually, what you had said was going to be mine, was to allow, to basically not feel like you have to force or provide. I mean, that's the one thing I don't know about you, the only child, but I have that. I feel like I need to be his constant entertainment because he doesn't have siblings. And me recognizing that I can't be that. It's just not the nature, and it's not serving him to be his constant entertainment, So I was going to say that very thing, is to allow them that time to be bored and encourage, that time to explore and find, what they gravitate to, and you can even say that, like, no, we're not going to do that right now, but why don't you kind of sit with that and see what comes up for you, what you might want to do. And so I would say, just again, giving them that time, what you said, and not feeling like you have to be providing a constant entertaining, over scheduling your child so they're always having something to do and they're never bored. Always, that's the thing with screen time. I always, just sit, draw. You don't have to have the stimulation all the time, even though it can be a great escape for kids sometimes, and, not always the healthiest escape. So you nailed it. Give them time. Let them be bored. It's good for them.
Yeah. And again, it's just so particularly important right now, while we have so much Aquarian energy in our collective, like regardless of what's happening in our individual charts, there are certain themes that are happening in our world right now. And Aquarius being associated with technology, with connection, with community.
Yeah.
There are different ways we can steer that. So, I think we need to be particularly paying attention to not going too far in the technological version of that. Which I think that we've seen all around with the kids, and it's so tempting for all of us, but leaning into some other elements of
using it in creative ways. Like I let Joseph watch YouTube videos that show him how to draw something. You know what I mean? Or he loves, dance videos and learning how to do dances and, fun stuff like that. So it's really about being particular about what it is they're using the tech for.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that in too. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you that want to tune into other episodes with Dominique, we did a full feature with her where you can learn more about her and her background, and where you can find her. And I don't have that episode number right off the top of my head, but it will be in the show notes. It's a previous episode of Seeds of Light. And if you're looking for more insights to work with your child's particular chart, the moon is a really good place to start. And you can go to astrologyhub.com/moon sign and download your free PDF. And we go through all 12 zodiac signs in there, and how the moon shows up in all 12, and what that tells you about what your child needs in order to feel nurtured and taken care of and happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, thank you, Dominique, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thanks.